What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be talking through some of the best budget buys in second div Europe. We've got a bunch of goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and a few forwards as well that I personally think are great value currently. And if you are watching this video and you aren't already subscribed, please make sure to hit that sub button and also like the video. And let's get into those players. Okay, so kicking us off in the goalkeeper position, we have got Regis Gertner, who plays for Amiens or Omion, who in the French League 2. He is a little bit older at 37 years of age, which is why his price is a little bit lower currently, I believe. In limited, he's about £8.60, and in rare, about £130, which is great value for a starting goalkeeper. And if you have a look at his scores, especially recently, he's been very, very consistent. You can see 4 back-to-back scores of 70. And yeah, just overall for his price range. And if you're going to use him in things like Cap 240, I think he's perfect. His L15 has actually gone up a little bit, so he may be a little bit too high for Cap 240. However, he's just a really, really solid scorer, and you could probably even use him in Cap 270s, for instance, especially if you stack him with a defender as well. And yeah, for his price range, I think he's great value. I think the only reason that he is that sort of price range is probably down to his age. He's 37. Maybe there are some rumors about him retiring at the end of the season. But yeah, overall, a really solid purchase, and I don't think you can really go wrong, especially as if you hit, 3 thresholds, you've basically paid him off. And yeah, you can use him all the way through. They've still got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, like 20 odd fixtures left, which is plenty of time for you to actually recoup what you spent with him, and then perhaps even sell him on at the end of the season as well. And in a similar mould to Regis Gertner, we have got Emiliano Viviano, who has played for a lot of clubs and now plays for Ascoli in Serie B. A similar situation because he is a similar age, 38 years of age. He's about £6 in limited and about 100 to 120 in rare. And yeah, he's someone which basically is the same as Regis Gertner. Some nice scores, especially recently. Can score some nice peaks. See here, he hit a 95, 84, 83. Has that upside, which is nice. A few lower scores down here in the 20, 12, 10, 0, a couple of DMPs. But overall, a very, very good option. Those DMPs were after the red card, which is fine. Goalkeepers around this sort of price range will have those lower scores anyway. But I mean, for his price, for if you can get him for 107, that's crazy cheap. It's basically 2 thresholds. His contract is up at the end of the season. Obviously, goalies can play for a little bit longer. He may obviously carry on until he's 40, or he may hang up his boots at the end of the season. However, for his price range, they've still got a good 15 to 20 fixtures left. Plenty of time to obviously claw back the money that you spent on him. And obviously with an L15 or 48 as well, he's a little bit more accessible for Cap 240. There we go, got there in the end. Moving into the defenders, we have got Clerc, who plays for Elche in the Spanish second div. 31 years of age, so quite a good age. And has a contract until 2024, which is up obviously at the end of this season. He's someone that I've mentioned previously in some other videos as just a really nice purchase, and he still is. £2.54 in limited and £31 in rare. If we have a look at his scores, very, very consistent, especially if we have a look at his L15, 58.7, lots of scores in that 50 to 70 range. He lacks a little bit of upside. However, for a player that can score like this for £30 in rare, it's just crazy. He's someone that you can whack in there. You basically know he's going to get you a half decent score. His L15 is a little bit high for Cap 240, but for Cap 270, he's okay. And if you can partner him with someone that has those explosive high scores of between 90 to 100, and he gets you a 76 or a 69, that's perfectly fine. And yeah, I just mean for his price range, I think it's a no-brainer, really. He's probably someone that I'm going to get for my own gallery. I just think he's a nice piece to have. And yeah, just probably one of the best bargain buys on this list, to be honest. Okay, so moving on to our next defender, we have got Robert Pierre, who plays for Sporting Gijón in the Spanish second division. Has a contract till next season, which is great. A really high L5 and L15. His price in limited is £3.62 and in rare £46.55. He's someone who actually has a little bit more upside. See here, especially the last few scores, some really, really nice scores in there. Obviously, he's got that 100 in there and an 87. He's got 100 previously back here and another 87 here. Very, very consistent in that mid-range. A ton of scores between 50 and 60 and has a little bit more upside than the last selection Clerk. Overall, just, a really, really nice option. A little bit more expensive, £46. That's probably down to his last few scores. But yeah, I mean, if you look at his L15, it's 61, which is crazy. Only a couple of bad scores here. One was a sub game, and the other one was just a 3-2 loss against Santander, who are also quite good. But yeah, overall, just a really, really solid option. Some great scores. Probably currently a more of a cap 270 or perhaps an all-star player, just because of his high L15. But yeah, if he gets a few lower scores and his L15 comes down, definitely a option for his cap modes. And yeah, for £46, I think it's once again great value, and yeah, just gives you a little bit more upside than some of the other selections as well. Next up, we have another Spanish second div defender, which is Sergio Gonzalez for Leganés. 31 years of age, no information on his contract, so do some research there. £3.26 in limited and £29.89 in rare. He's someone which is a little bit more scattered in terms of his scores. However, does have the upside occasionally, which is great. If you have a look at his L15 here, very, very consistent in that mid-range. You can see here 8 scores between 40 and 60, which is nice. A couple of big scores as well. You got those big scores back here with a goal and assist. He seems to get a lot of goals for a defender, so maybe he's a threat from set pieces, or perhaps he takes penalties or free kicks maybe. I'm not sure. However, he has a lot of DAs for a centre-back, which is interesting. But yeah, overall, once again, a very, very nice scorer. I mean, the Spanish second div seems to have a lot of very good players in this backline. So it's probably a league which has less goals overall. And yeah, for £30, once again, for those scores, prices are crazy cheap currently. It's either a really great time to buy or we're obviously on the way down. But yeah, I would personally take advantage of the low prices currently, especially in the second div. It's obviously a little bit of a cheaper league anyway. And yeah, he offers you some great scores, and yeah, just overall a really nice purchase for £30. Okay, we have 2 defenders left, and keeping in theme with the Spanish second div, we have the man which we've talked about many, many times, the 36-year-old Go Arbia, who plays for Eibar. He's someone which just keeps on getting those scores. You always think, it's going to come to an end. They're going to bring through another youth option. They're going to sign someone else, but he just keeps on grinding out those scores. Just a really, really solid player. 21.2 AA in the last year. In terms of his last 15, 55.6 was 22.3 AA. Some nice higher scores here. A few lower ones, which is fine if you want to use him for cap modes. And yeah, for under £2 in limited and £20 the 1 week average in rare. It's once again crazy value. He is older. Maybe he stops playing at the end of the season. Maybe he carries on. Who knows? But for that sort of price range, I'm sure you can yield back what you spent on him. And yeah, he's just a really, really solid piece and something that you should probably always have in your gallery. One of those older players that is a little bit cheaper, but just keeps on putting in those great scores. And our last defender is Dennis Appiah, or Appia, who plays for Saint Etienne in the French League 2. Contract till 2025, which is great. £2.54 in limited and £29.89 in rare. He's someone which, similarly to the other players, a really, really solid scorer. He gives you a little bit more upside than some of the other options. 6 scores in the past year between 80 and 100, which is nice. His L15 is 59.7. At home, that's 56, and away 65. So he's actually better away from home, which is interesting. He either plays at right back or centre back in a back three. And yeah, they're one of the better teams in the French second div. You expect them, especially when they're playing against weak opposition, to obviously win. And yeah, with that contract to till next season, probably gives you a little bit of security. 31 years of age, so shouldn't be hanging up his boots anytime soon. And just, yeah, overall a really, really nice scorer. Consistent. You know that he's going to start every game. And yeah, his L15 and L5 a little bit high currently. Probably more of a 270 all-star or second div card currently rather than any sort of cap modes. However, for his price, once again, really nice on the budget and just a really, really solid option. Okay, and moving into the midfield, we have got Lewis Holtby, 33 years of age, who plays for Holstein Kiel in the Bundesliga 2. He's definitely more of a higher end card in terms of his L15 and L5. You're playing him in better comps than any cap modes. But yeah, for his price range, I had to include him. £7 in limited and £55 in rare. The reason that I've included him, if you look at those L15, some crazy scores. Crazy scores for his price range. He's got, what here, 5, 7, 9 scores between 60 and 100 in the last 15, which is crazy. Lots of DAs, lots of assists and goals. I assume from this that he takes most of their set pieces, which is why he's got nice AA and also some DAs in there as well. And yeah, just overall, such a good scorer for his price. You can basically play him in any competition that you can fit him into. And yeah, just overall a really, really, really solid option. Prices are so cheap that this sort of player shouldn't be this sort of price. With these scores, you'd expect a much higher price range. But yeah, overall, a very, very nice option. Play him wherever you want to. You can target those better competitions with him. And yeah, just overall, a crazy good option for a crazy good price. Next up, we have a player that I've never actually scouted before, which is Raphael Obermeier, who plays for Paderborn in Bundesliga 2. An L15 of 56, L5 of 68, about £4.80 in limited and £32 in rare. He's someone which is just a very, very consistent option. Doesn't offer you as much upside. However, a lot of scores in that 40 to 50 range. And also when he does get a goal or assist, like in this win here against Hansa Rostock, gets you a 93, which is crazy, crazy good. Obviously, if he can increase the amount of DAs, that would be fantastic. However, in 28 games, he has got 3 goals and 7 assists, so 1 every 3 games, which is not too bad. 10 AA, which is also nice. If you get out games that he hasn't started, that score increases slightly. And then if you have a look at the L15, it's a little bit higher at 56, which is good. His home and away split, he's slightly better at home with 57.3. And so definitely a better option when he's playing at home for Paderborn. And yeah, just an overall really consistent scorer that when he does get those goals or assists, has that opportunity to score high. And for, yeah, his sort of price range around that £30 mark in rare, a really, really nice option, especially if you can partner him with some of the other big scorers as well. Okay, on to our next midfielder and our first U23 option, Jocelyn Janet, who plays for Bastia. About £7 in limited and £60 in rare, so a little bit more expensive. That's what you will expect for U23 options. Has a nice amount of time left in U23 till 2027, which is awesome. In terms of his scores, really, really consistent. If you have a look at his L15, it's 60.1, which is crazy, with 25.9 AA. It looks like if you have a look at his scores overall, that here he was obviously a DMP for a large amount of time. He must have had a long-term injury, or perhaps just wasn't in the starting squad. Got some minutes back here in the summer of last year. Moving into this season, didn't really play too much at the start, but it looks like from October onwards, seems to have got himself into that starting team. Maybe it's due to injury, maybe it's due to form, but since then, Bastia have been on quite a nice run, as you can see. He's obviously got that starting job and a lot of scores in that 60 to 70 range, four of them, and then 3 in 70 to 80. So he doesn't have the upside, but he gives you a consistent scorer. 25.9 AA is very, very good. And it means that you can play him in a lot of matchups, which means that yeah, he just gives you a lot of utility and a lot of options. Probably someone who you aren't going to play in any sort of cap mode anytime soon. However, just a very, very solid option. And if you can partner someone like him with Holtby, I think that's a winning formula. He gets you those 70 scores, and then Holtby can then obviously explode and get you those really high 90s. And our last midfielder, and continuing on the French theme, we have got Pedro Diaz, who plays for Bordeaux. 25 years of age, a great age, £3 in limited and £37 recently in rare. He's someone that I believe takes all of the set pieces for Bordeaux. He's very, very, very consistent, especially in that 40 to 60 range. What's that? 21 scores out of the last 31 games in that range. So he's definitely got a really safe mid-range. Doesn't have the upside as some of the other players. However, a really, really consistent scorer. If you partner him with the right people and also play him in the right matchups, you've got someone that can score very, very well. If we just have a look and get rid of any sub games and whack him at home, he's an absolute smasher. 63.3 with 17.5 AA. 18 games with 9 DAs, so a DA every 2 games at home, and 17.5 AA. So definitely play him in some nice competitions when he's playing at home. An L15 of 55, you can maybe squeeze him into some of those cap modes. But yeah, overall, once again, a really nice solid scorer, especially at home. And for someone that's £3 in limited and 37 in rare, I don't think you can really go wrong. Okay, and into the forwards, we have got someone... Okay, and into the forwards, and sticking with the French League 2, we have got Alamani Gouiri, who is 27 years of age, plays for Paris. A contract until June 2024, about £6 in a limited and £63 in rare. If we have a look at his scoring here, he's someone that can play anywhere along the front line, some games at right mid, left mid, striker, very versatile. A lot of DAs recently, which is nice. He seems to have found some form. And if you have a look back here, he's probably been injured here, come back into the team, missed some more minutes here, perhaps through injury. Seems to have settled down into a quite nice scoring pattern over the last sort of 15-20 games. If you have a look at L15, 57.4, which is very, very nice. 10.9 AA, very good for a forward. 13 starts in the last 15 games, and 8 DAs, which is, yeah, very, very nice. I assume with a lot of these players, he's going to be better at home. We'll just check. Actually, no, he is a better option away from home. That might just be how Paris play when they're not at home. Perhaps they're more of a like counter team. Perhaps he's someone that's quite quick, quite good on the counter attack. But yeah, overall L15 of 57, sneaking up a little bit too high for some capped competitions. But for a starting forward and someone that's got a really nice goal scoring rate, especially in the last 15, and someone of a good age, I think £63 in rare is probably quite fair. I actually think he's probably more of a better purchase in limited. But yeah, overall, still a really nice solid option. And our second U23 option is Kylian Corridor, who plays for Rodez. I didn't realise how many players we've got from the French League 2 here. Seems to be quite a theme of Spanish players at the back, and then French players up front, and some Bundesliga thrown in there as well. But yeah, our second U23 option, U23 till 2025, £4.40 in limited and £47 in rare. He's someone, if we just have a look at his scores here, get rid of any weird games out of there. 34 games overall with 20 DAs, which is very, very good. He's better for cap mode just because he either scores very, very well, or he'll get you scores in this 30 to 40 range. You can see here the two highest graphs are the ones between 30 and 40, and the one between 60 and 70. So he's quite boom or bust. This makes him a much better cap mode player. And yeah, you can see from his scoring chart, it's either a yellow or a dark green. There's not really any sort of mid-range there. But yeah, a nice amount of DAs. It looks like when Rodez play well and when he scores, yeah, they do obviously much better. And yeah, just a very, very consistent starter. You can look through here, no injuries, plays every game, sometimes from the left, sometimes up front. But yeah, overall, a really nice U23 option. A little bit cheaper than the last striker, which is interesting as he's obviously a U23 and the last guy wasn't. But yeah, overall, a very nice solid option and one of the better cap mode forwards and one of the best budget strikers on this. And one of the best budget strikers on this list up next is Alvaro Jimenez, who plays for Racing Ferrol, Spanish second div. Hope you like my pronunciation there as well. I was quite proud of that. £3 in a limited and about 30 quid in rare. An L15 51 and L5 of 63. Found some goal scoring form recently by the looks of it. If you have a look at his scores, he's definitely the sort of normal cap mode striker, especially in cap 240. He's either getting you 30 to 40 or 60 to 70. He's basically got no middle ground, which is obviously perfect for cap modes, but you probably don't want to be placing him in 270s or anything higher than that. Stick to 220s and 240s. But yeah, found some form recently, which is obviously nice to see. If we have a look at his breakdown of scores, there we go. Slightly better at home. To be fair, 3 goals and 3 assists in 10 games. So 68 out of 10 is very, very nice. He just doesn't have the AA, only 3 AA, which is obviously what you need to get those higher end scores. But for cap modes, for £3 in limited and for £30 in rare, I think it's a great purchase and a really, really nice squad option. And to round things off, we have got Branimir Hrigota, who plays for Greuther Fürth. I think that's how you say it. That's probably completely wrong, but we'll just go with it. In the Bundesliga 2, a contract until June 2026, which is nice. 31 years of age, £6 in limited and £67 in rare. So I think that's our most expensive forward and maybe our most expensive player on this list, along with Holtby. The reason for that is he's just a really, really solid option. If we have a look at his scores, we'll get rid of any silly games out of there. 57 overall with 11.4 AA, which is awesome for a forward. 33 games started. What's that? 16 DAs, so basically 1 every 2 games, which is awesome. He's someone which basically plays every game. I believe he's on quite a lot of their set pieces as well. You can see from his scores, he's got a little bit of everything. If he doesn't score, he can still get you that mid-range. And if he does score, due to his AA, you can then get those high scores. 100 in his last game, 96 here, 85, 87. So he's got this sort of all-round package, and that's probably why his price is just a little bit higher. Okay guys, that is going to be all for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed me going through some second div players there. I feel like overall we've got some really nice options on that list. There's some budget players on there. There's some really nice sort of mid-range and upper range players on that list. And I think overall the second div just gives you a little bit of everything and is really, really great value for money. If you have any questions about anything that I've mentioned in this video, please let me know in the comments, and also make sure to like and sub to the channel as well. Keep an eye out for my future videos, and I'll see you next time.